Are you an overthinker? Not sure? Well, let's play overthinking bingo and find out. How many of these do you get? Do you regularly replay conversations in your head and wonder what you could have or should have said differently? Do you spend more time thinking about taking action than actually taking action? Do you mentally rehearse future situations repeatedly, trying to prepare for every possible outcome? Do you struggle to make decisions because you keep weighing up options, looking for the right choice? When a problem arises, do you find it difficult to switch your mind off and move your attention elsewhere? If you got three or more of these, commiserations, you are an overthinker, just like me. But the good news is this episode is for you. Hello and welcome to Dear Curious Soul. I'm your host, Duschanca, and I'm a recovering overthinker. I know that overthinking is something that so many people do. I have been an overthinker for as long as I can remember. I actually thought that this was what was happening in everyone else's heads too, that this was how our brains worked. The biggest way my overthinking shows up is through mental rehearsing. I rehearse things before I say them, before I text them, or before I do them. I have full conversations in my head before I send a simple text asking a friend if they want to hang out. And I've also noticed that the overthinking and the mental rehearsing was starting to exhaust me. I would just get into these loops of overthinking, and I wanted to learn more about why I did it and how to stop it. So I got curious. In today's episode, I'm going to explain why we overthink, how we can use overthinking to our advantage, and also provide some practical techniques to help you stop overthinking. The same ones that I've been using and that have been helping me. So let's begin with the why. Overthinking and mental rehearsing are actually things your brain is trying to do for you, not against you. From a psychology and neuroscience perspective, they're a protective mechanism designed to help you predict danger, avoid mistakes, and create a sense of control in uncertain situations. Overthinking makes us believe that we are doing something useful. Psychologically, overthinking is often linked to anxiety, perfectionism, fear of rejection, fear of failure, or past experiences where making a mistake felt emotionally unsafe. Your mind starts believing, if I think about this enough, I can prevent pain. So you replay conversations, imagine future scenarios, analyze what you said, rehearse what you should say, or mentally prepare for every possible outcome. It becomes an attempt to reduce uncertainty. The problem is the brain confuses thinking with solving. Sometimes thinking helps, but excessive thinking becomes circular. No real resolution, just repeated loops. And your brain likes overthinking. Your brain's primary job is not happiness or confidence. Its main job is survival and prediction. The brain constantly asks, what could go wrong and how do I stop it? Overthinking gives the brain the illusion that it's gaining control over uncertainty. Even when it's exhausting, the brain can interpret it as productive because it feels like preparation, vigilance, or problem solving. From a neuroscience perspective, there are a few reasons the brain gets attached to overthinking. Number one, the brain prefers certainty over uncertainty. The nervous system finds uncertainty uncomfortable because unpredictability can signal danger. When you overthink, your brain believes it's reducing uncertainty by analyzing every angle. If no resolution is reached, the act of searching for one can feel safer than just letting go. That's why people often think, if I replay this conversation enough, I'll understand it. Or if I mentally rehearse enough, I won't embarrass myself. Or if I think through every possibility, I'll be prepared. The brain mistakes mental activity for safety. Number two, overthinking can create a temporary dopamine reward. Every time the brain thinks it has found an answer, an insight, or a possibility, it can release a small amount of dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter linked to motivation and reward. So even stressful thinking can become oddly addictive. Analyzing, checking, replaying, researching, rehearsing, imagining outcomes. These are all byproducts of it. The brain keeps chasing the feeling of maybe the next thought will solve it. This is why overthinking can feel compulsive. Number three, the brain confuses worry with action. From an evolutionary perspective, doing nothing in the face of danger was really risky. So mentally staying engaged with a problem can feel more adaptive than resting. Your brain may interpret relaxation as you're letting your guard down, especially if you grew up in environments where mistakes, unpredictability, criticism, or emotional instability felt unsafe. The brain can become hypervigilant. Overthinking then becomes a learned safety strategy. Number four, familiar thoughts become neurologically efficient. The brain loves efficiency. Repeated thought patterns strengthen neural pathways through a process called neuroplasticity. The more you overthink, the faster those pathways activate, the more automatic they become, and the more normal they feel. Eventually, the brain starts defaulting to overanalysis because it's the most practiced route. It's like a mental habit groove. Check out my episode on how habits become addictions to learn more about neural pathways and how we create them. Number five, overthinking can protect identity and ego. The brain also uses overthinking to avoid emotional exposure. For example, if you mentally rehearse enough, maybe you won't look foolish. If you analyze relationships enough, maybe you won't get hurt. If you stay hyper aware, maybe you won't fail. Underneath overthinking is often an attempt to avoid shame, rejection, loss of control, or vulnerability. And here's the paradox: overthinking gives short term relief, but often creates long term anxiety. The brain learns whenever I feel uncertain, I should think more. But confidence usually develops the opposite way: less monitoring, more presence, more action, more tolerance for imperfection. How many times have you thought about a problem over and over and over again? And then finally, when you stop thinking about it, clarity comes. I know that's happened to me many, many times. Experiences like dancing, improvising, speaking another language, performing, or dating can be really healing for overthinkers. They train the nervous system to function without excessive control. The brain slowly learns I can survive uncertainty in real time. And so we've talked about the brain, but what happens in your body? Your mind stays on guard and you start seeing danger everywhere when you overthink. Your mind rehearses dangers, but the body doesn't know the difference between a real danger or a perceived danger. Your mind runs through scenarios, then your body starts to actually live them. You may feel the tightening of your chest, the increased heartbeat, or the quickening of your breath. You are physically safe, but your nervous system just feels danger, danger, danger. You teach your body to live in a dangerous future that hasn't even happened. When I've talked to people about my overthinking, many people have said, well, just stop thinking. But that doesn't work. A lot of people think that the only way to resolve overthinking is by not thinking, by calming down. But this can be pointless. The more you try not to think about it, the louder and more persistent the thoughts become. The only way to stop overthinking is to stop believing that your thoughts are truth, that they need to be given attention, that they need to be followed. I heard an amazing analogy about overthinking. Imagine the thoughts you think when notifications on your phone. Some of those thoughts or notifications you need to respond to, and some of them you just ignore or you set aside for another time. Think of the notifications you receive on your phone. How many do you just dismiss without giving any attention to? How many times have you not been using your phone, but you got a notification? Say it's a message on Instagram. You respond to the message. but then you find yourself on Instagram for the next half an hour. That's what overthinking is like. You're giving it the attention and then you're getting swept away with it. So, something you could do with those thoughts is treat them like notifications. Okay, I see this notification, but it doesn't require my attention right now. And what you might find is that you dismiss it altogether, or maybe you come back to it later. Some thoughts, some notifications are really important. They teach us about the world, they teach us about what we need to do, but some of them just don't need any attention or any response. Overthinking is not inherently a bad thing. Overthinking is what kept us alive in the past. It's what you keep overthinking, the thoughts you keep replaying. That's the problem. Overthinking is simply a habit, one you've practiced so much that it becomes an automatic response. What you want to stop overthinking is all the bad stuff, the negative things, and start overthinking the positive things. Like, I am so grateful for this. Life is so beautiful. That's amazing overthinking. Those are blessings. And once you start overthinking those, you'll find more of them. So you might be wondering how to stop overthinking. Here are a few things that have been working for me. Become aware of your thoughts and stop replaying the past. Not every thought requires your attention. Our minds love to revisit old conversations, mistakes, and regrets. But no matter how many times you replay the past, you can't change it. You're just keeping the wound or the hurt emotionally alive. So think about the 90-second rule of emotions that I mentioned in a previous episode. Accept what you can't control. Simply ask yourself, can I do something right now to make an impact on this situation? If the answer is yes, easy, take action. If the answer is no, then stop trying to control it. The more you fight reality, the more your mind suffers. Peace begins when acceptance replaces resistance. And stop trying to be perfect. The Japanese have a philosophy called wabi sabi, which teaches the beauty of imperfection. Nothing in nature is perfect. You, my dear curious soul, will never be perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. It's just an old, outdated program from childhood that kept you feeling safe in the past. Start focusing on the good. Start focusing on the things to be grateful for. Bring yourself back to the present moment. Once you start focusing on the present moment, overthinking weakens. When I find myself overthinking, I take a deep breath and I think of 5 things that I'm grateful for. Or I look around me and find 5 beautiful things. I change my internal state. And I'm finding the more I do it, the more ingrained it becomes. Overthinking can keep us stuck. So focus on the next small step. Taking a small step forward helps with momentum. You will gain clarity with forward movement, not by overthinking. And slow down and trust the flow of life. Our world today has so much noise and so much distraction. We compare ourselves to other people on social media, our friends, and we have information and stimulation overwhelming our minds from every direction. Slowing down and remembering that not everything needs immediate answers, responses, or attention. So much clarity can be gained with time, patience, and experience. So here's a quick recap. Overthinking is just your brain's attempt to protect you. It's trying to reduce uncertainty, but it often backfires. Not every thought deserves your attention. Treat thoughts like phone notifications. Some need a response, but most don't. You can't change the past by replaying it. You're just keeping the pain alive. Accept what you can't control. Peace begins when acceptance replaces resistance. Perfection does not exist. Let go of that outdated program and always come back to the present moment. Ground yourself with gratitude or your senses. Take the next small step. Action creates clarity, not overthinking. Slow down. Not everything needs an answer immediately. A peaceful mind is not created by controlling everything, but by learning what deserves your energy and your attention and what simply needs to be released. Thank you for listening with an open mind, a kind heart, and your dear, curious soul. And if you would like to support the podcast, please consider sharing this episode with someone who feels like the right person. It may be exactly what they need to hear at this moment on their path. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the whispers of your soul.